All right, shall we start?
Okay. Are you using your headphones for
Yeah,
this?
yeah.
Okay. We can start whenever you please.
Okay.
Just a second, just so that I have my notes ready. Okay. You can start doing the introduction.
Hello, guys. My name is Yusuf.
And my name is Haider.
And for today's episode, we will be introducing to you guys electric versus hydrogen.
So just a little bit of a background about why we're opting to choose for this specific podcast is because when it comes to the future lineup with hydrogen-powered vehicles, obviously it's not going to be just electric cars. It's going to be more vehicles that are sustainable, but obviously electric cars will be the ones that will dominate the streets of the world.
Basically, there's alternative types of cars to electric that are sustainable. One of them being hydrogen, which we are going to be talking about today. So Toyota has recently innovated a new project, a new engine made out of hydrogen.
Powered vehicles. And when it comes to the Toyota's future lineup, the CEO have announced to move towards electrifying their vehicle lineup, but this is not just their only plan. They're also planning to go towards the future with hydrogen-powered vehicles.
Honestly, it amazes me the fact that Toyota is the only company, only car brand I know that's not scared to move towards hydrogen and electric, because at the end of the day, I feel like it's like, well, I don't know what it's called. It's like separate and conquer, I guess you could say, all fields, electric, gas, hydrogen, because all the car brands are just looking towards electric.
Sustainable.
Yeah.
And while Toyota has been a pioneer in hybrid vehicles with their successful Prius model, they have also shown a commitment to hydrogen fuel cell technology. Toyota introduced the Mirai. It's a hybrid and hydrogen fuel cell vehicle and continues to develop and improve upon this technology. Additionally, Toyota recognizes the growing importance of electric vehicles and has expanded its efforts in that area. So basically, we do have the new lineup coming from Germany. Like, for example, the previous podcast, we just talked about the Porsche Taycan and their plans to move towards that specific model, and their lineup will all be electric. But Porsche Taycan is just one example when it comes to the future of electric Porsche. Is there something you want to add to that?
Yeah, let's get in towards the pros and the cons, because obviously, like last week's episode, or last episode, whenever you guys are seeing this, we will be deciding a winner. So can you decide between hydrogen and electric? So let's go into it. So electric, obviously we know the fact that 0 to 100, they're very fast, faster than gas-powered cars. How does that run up against hydrogen cars?
So when
0
it
to
runs
100.
up to hydrogen-powered cars, they're pretty much having the same sort of technical features, meaning that when it comes to the hydrogen is being utilized for the power plant, I would say that a hydrogen-powered vehicle, also known as fuel cell vehicle, is a type of vehicle that uses hydrogen as its primary fuel source to generate electricity and power to an electric motor. So, believe it or not, a hydrogen car is technically an electric car, but it's just been remodeled to be running on hydrogen. The vehicle's propulsion
Well, you would
system
say that they were
consists-
equal, yes? Because it's hydrogen and electric are basically somewhat the same thing and the same concept.
Coming back to your question about who's faster, I would say that the electric car is technically faster.
Because of the
The
electric
reason-
motors.
The reason why I would say that is because when it comes to hydrogen-powered vehicles, this is something that is very new, and you wouldn't see any car markets, like for example, automakers producing hydrogen-powered vehicles, except for Toyota. Like they just introduced two models,
Yeah.
which is the Mirai and the upcoming Prius.
Yeah.
Obviously, BMW have introduced with their 7 Series a hydrogen-powered V12 model for their 750, but this is only a limited production car, and they only sold like 50 pieces of them. The reason why is because when it comes to refueling a hydrogen vehicle, you wouldn't see any stations that provide fuel specifically for hydrogen. So this is one of the disadvantage when
Yep.
it comes to hydrogen-powered vehicles.
No, I heard another disadvantage that's way worse. So, not due to the lack of charging and fueling up stations for hydrogen-powered vehicles, but I've also heard that hydrogen, apparently it's extremely flammable. So you'll have to be very careful with it. You won't want to light a match right next to it, otherwise
Exactly.
things can go terrible.
It's extremely inflammable. The reason why is because of the electrical components that is right behind the hydrogen cell. And anytime you would have to refuel a hydrogen vehicles, you would have to switch off the engine and switch off any technical components within the car so that you wouldn't have to risk yourself with a fire, let's say.
No, yeah, of course, I agree with you. But
So-
I personally think, moving on forward with electric and hydrogen cars, if obviously hydrogen is new, it's more new than electric cars. So I feel like the EV industry later on in the future, I mean, if you can rack up against who's better than who, I would personally say that the EV market, the EV industry, will still beat hydrogen, because the fact is that the advantage for the EV industry is much better and much at a faster rate. Even if hydrogen had the same thing, I feel like the fact that because electric cars is more sustainable in a way due to the fact that it runs on renewable energy, it allows for better and more advancements within that industry, and a lot of people would still pick an electric car over a hydrogen car.
Which I have to agree upon. And when it comes to the simplified explanation of how a hydrogen-powered vehicle works, I just wanted to emphasize the fact that when it comes to hydrogen storage, the vehicle stores compressed hydrogen gas in a high-pressure tank. Alternatively, it can use a chemical compound like sodium borohydride or liquid hydrogen, which can be stored in a low temperature. When it comes to fuel cell stack, the fuel cell stack contains multiple individual fuel cells. Each fuel cell consists of 2 electrodes, an anode and a cathode, separated by an electrocytes. When hydrogen gas is supplied to the anode and oxygen, usually from the air, it is usually supplied to the cathodes. It's a chemical reaction that usually occurs within the hydrogen-powered vehicle.
One of the things I think that's weird between hydrogen-powered vehicles is the fact that it reduces a waste. You know how, well, electric cars, they don't. You know how gas-powered cars, they produce gas fumes? It's something similar towards hydrogen-powered cars, although it is not, I guess you could say, harmful towards the environment. They
It's
produce
just
water. Yeah. Imagine having 50 liters of water in your car because of a hydrogen car.
Even if it's embarrassing for you to pull up at someone's house, and once you visit that specific person, and the moment you finish your conversation with that person or whatever you're having with that specific person, the moment he sees your car, there's like wet, like the floor's wet everywhere, right?
Yeah, so I guess this can be seen as a disadvantage towards having a hydrogen-powered car.
But I just wanted to emphasize the fact that when it comes to the electrochemical reaction that happens within the hydrogen car, obviously, like I said, at the anode, the hydrogen molecule are split into protons and electrons. The protons pass through the electrolytes, which the electrons travel through an external circuit. But it does make sense that when it comes to the practicality of hydrogen-powered vehicles, it's not something that people would see it as practical, even considering the fact that it is sustainable. Obviously, the waste that comes out of the vehicle is water, but very small amounts of carbon dioxide is being emitted from hydrogen-powered vehicle, but not to the same extent as hybrids or gasoline-powered vehicles. And this is one of the things that I like about hydrogen-powered vehicles, is that there's a sound to a specific engine that doesn't ruin the reputation.
Yeah, when it comes towards exhaust, you can definitely say hydrogen over electric.
Obviously, but when it comes to the reputation of cars, okay, and even the power generations, at the cathodes, oxygen molecules from the air combine with the protons that travels through the electrocytes and the electrons from the external circuits, resulting in the production of water vapor, like I talked about.
Yes.
So to wrap it up, I just wanted to go through the pros and cons, and we give it a winner to which one is better, either the hydrogen or the, obviously, the electric.
May I do the pros and cons?
Okay.
Okay, so pros and cons for hydrogen vehicles. Pros, zero emissions other than water. And then the only byproduct is water vapor. Another pro for it is it's fast refueling. It's a lot faster than electric cars. And it has a longer driving range compared to electric cars. And the versatility of the hydrogen-powered vehicle can be produced from a variety of sources, including natural gas, renewable energy, and electrolysis using water. Now, for the cons for the hydrogen vehicles, it has limited infrastructure due to the fact that it is undeveloped as electrical vehicle industry.
When it comes to the charging stations that are specifically used for electric vehicles, you would see them all over the places. And due to the fact that electric vehicles have been existed on the world for almost 20 years, you have charging infrastructure specifically for electric cars all over the place. Like, for example, in malls, you would see them all over the places. But when it comes to hydrogen-powered vehicles, unfortunately, there are only 3 stations in the United Arab Emirates, which makes it somewhat of a disadvantage when it comes to refueling a hydrogen-powered vehicle. So obviously, zero emissions is one of the advantage when it comes to hydrogen vehicles, even fast refueling compared to an electric car. Like, for example, when it comes to charging a Porsche Taycan at a supercharger, obviously it would take like more than 60 minutes, and obviously long driving range. Hydrogen vehicle offers a long driving range compared to electric vehicles. They can typically travel hundreds of miles on a fuel tank of hydrogen, making them suitable for long distance journey. And versatility, because hydrogen can be produced from a variety of sources, including natural gases, renewable energy, and electrolysis. So coming back to the cons, there is a production challenges when it comes to producing a hydrogen vehicles, because although it requires energy, obviously you wouldn't expect that with other automakers. And obviously we have to decide on the winner.
Okay, I would decide personally on the electric cars over the hydrogen-powered cars, just due to the fact that it has a limited infrastructure and it's not as developed as the EV market. So, electric cars for me. For you?
For me, yes, I would have to go for an electric car. The reason why is because electric cars are generally considered more practical for daily use compared to hydrogen-powered vehicles. And there are a few factors that contribute to this winner, because of the charging infrastructure that is being used all over this country, even in the developed nations.
Yeah, personally, I'd say that this episode is a clear winner. Yeah.
Okay, so when it comes to vehicle range, electric cars have seen significant advantages in battery technology, which is why electric vehicles take the upper hand. But also when it comes to the availability of electric cars, there's a broader selection available on the market with various models from different manufacturers. In contrast, the availability of hydrogen-powered cars is more limited with fewer models and manufacturing offer them. With that being said, I would like to conclude with this episode talking about
Yes.
which one is better.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you guys for listening, and I hope you learned something from that.
Yes, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.